Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another health and wellness session here this evening. It's so lovely to have you all join me, and we'll just try to find that inner fire today to get through our session. I've got a really fun one in store, and I do hope that you take it at your own pace. So let us just come to our mats, settle ourselves down if you're on the floor, and if you are in a chair, just make sure that your legs are uncrossed and relaxed with your back supported with a backrest for now. We're going to start with settling the breath, taking a few deep breaths to start our practice and ground ourselves. So once you've done that, make sure that you are comfortable in your space, that you have no or minimal distractions around you, and then we can come into our practice. So sitting in an easy seated cross-legged position, Sukhasana, either ankles crossed and or one ankle in front of the groin area, the other ankle just sitting nestled right in front of it. Allow the hips to come flat to the floor, the sit bones to be grounded to the earth. You can place your hands upon the knees, soften the shoulders, and just close the eyes to come to your breath. Allow the spine to flow straight and tall up to the sky, and your head to float softly and gently upon the neck. Soften the shoulders back and down, and draw your navel towards the spine. Try not to hold your breath, but to focus the breath coming in through the nostrils and expanding the navel outwards, and exhaling by taking the navel towards the spine and releasing through the nose. Take a few deep breaths like this. Try to notice if you've got any tension in the face, and soften these muscles. Lifting the arms wide, you may gently open the eyes just to greet each other. Inhaling and lifting the eyes to the skies, palms together, and bringing that down the meridian of the body to the heart space. Inhaling, the arms go wide, embracing that energy around you, palms together and towards the center line of the body. Exhale. Inhale for the third time, eyes to the sky, pausing here for a moment and extending all the way down towards the heart. A gentle acknowledgement, Namaste. Welcoming ourselves to the class and into each other's presence, acknowledging that, of course, that sign of respect in our practice. So we're just going to come to our eyes closed again, and continue with that motion of softening the muscles within the face, but continuing with breathing, inhaling, extending the abdomen outwards, and exhaling, drawing that towards the spine. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Notice if you're clenching your jaws, soften the mouth area, and you can plant a little smile upon the lips. Notice if you're frowning for no reason at all. Allow yourself to come into this space and to focus on a particular sankalpa today. A sankalpa in Sanskrit is the intention of the practice. Today we are going to strive to be a warrior. I'm not a warrior. We're going to let our worries drift away, as warriors normally have a lot of courage and strength to face their fears, a lot of discipline to face the battles in life. They have patience. They use smart moves, strategic moves to make decisions. Allow the breath to come in and out the body naturally. Notice if you are sagging in the back area, and allow the sit bones to sit high. To allow yourself the discipline of the practice, as you've already come to your mats and committed to that today, and to face whatever fears that you may be going through, challenges and trials. And the belief that you would get through that armed with all you have. Gently opening the eyes and allowing yourself to just come back into this space. Wonderful. So a warm welcome to all of those who are joining us for the first time. And welcome back to those who've been here before. We're going to start some gentle side stretches, so allow yourself to probably change the cross in the legs if you are in that position. And if you have got your legs out extended in front of you, that's also a possibility. So you can remain in that position as well. And if you're on the chair, you can reshuffle your alignment slightly. So I'm just going to change the cross on my legs here and allow my arms to extend outside of the body here on either side of me. And I call this like spider arm, spider walking, keeping the fingertips quite high off the mat. So we're going to go around to the right hand side. So I'm going to spider walk the body along the mat and just gently lift that arm overhead, the opposite arm to the left arm. Now, if this is a bit difficult, if you've got any shoulder injuries, I suggest to just keep that slightly grounded for the time being. You may wish to just stretch that arm out in front of you rather than taking it up or over the head. So that's just a slight modification to that stretch, and you will still gain and benefit from that on that side of the body, because really the arm is just another accessory to this particular stretch. All right, so allow yourself to breathe into it here, inhaling deeply, exhaling, keeping the neck quite floppy, gentle. You may wish to lower the elbow to the mat. And just gently come into your breath. If the neck will permit, you can look under the elbow. And if not, for those of you who have shoulder and neck injuries, just take it very gently. You may wish to turn the head towards the ground. So allowing that breath and that side stretch to really open up that rib cage like an accordion. Exhale and sweep that arm round and replace on the other side of the mat. And we're doing the same on the other side. So spider walking across to your left side, lifting that arm up and overhead again. Those with neck and shoulder injuries may wish to just keep the hand down on the ground or on the opposite leg, the right thigh. And you may wish to change the neck position by looking down to the ground next to you, and or, if it would permit, up to the sky. You may wish to lower the elbow as well to allow that softening and actually increasing the stretch in the side body. Breathe in here. Inhale and exhale. Wonderful. So we're going to go into some cat-cow, so really extending the spine and flexing the spine. So we're just going to change our position this time, coming into cross-legged to your mat, but we're going to roll over onto the knees, so facing the palms towards us. So before we get into cat-cow, we're just going to stretch and extend onto the mat here. And I'm just going to adjust my camera so that you can see me a little bit better. On the ground. So extending myself further forward, keeping the hips grounded on the mat and trying not to come up, because this is not really going to benefit the stretch. So if you allow yourself to just become grounded, make sure that the hips are there and you're keeping them quite firmly planted into the earth. Extend the arms in front of you. Keep the head nice and low. And just gently move the head from side to side like a gentle pendulum in that space. Don't forget to breathe. Inhale, spread the fingers wide. You may wish to extend the arms wider than the shoulders to allow an expansiveness in the chest and the back. And just gently walking back up the body. Wonderful breathing here. So we're just going to extend forward again slightly, and this time we're going to uncross by rolling up onto the knees, uncross the toes and the ankles. Keeping the big toes together here, I'm going to keep my knees quite wide on the mat, so about width of the mat. And just allow yourself to slide forward. This is an extended wide child's pose. Keep the head on the mat. If you can't go all the way down, you may wish to put a block or a bolster or a cushion under your head, or you may wish to use your fists to lift the forehead off the floor. And of course, if you can't go that low, you may wish to just stay in that position upright. Try to tuck the tailbone under if possible. You may wish to come on your forearms as well, with your palms facing upwards. And this is a very restorative posture, which allows you to just release. The full expression is keeping the knees together and curling yourself into a fetal position, which allows for that comfort as if you were in the womb of the mother that you came from. So extending the arms forward if you're not already there. Really spreading the fingertips wide, fanning them out. And gently rolling up onto the knees here, bringing the knees together and realigning your feet. So we're going to come into some spinal flexions here. So inhaling, ensuring that you're in a good alignment means that you've got your knees just under your hip points or your hips, and your hands spread widely, but actually shoulder width apart and just sitting underneath the shoulders. So I'm going to tuck my tailbone under. It looks like I'm curling my tail under, and I'm going to extend by doing the opposite motion. So on my inhale, I'm going to go into cow. So inhaling, dropping the belly down, lifting the head up. Try not to punch the back of the neck, extending and elongating, drawing the shoulders back, pushing down the tops of the feet into the mat, and then exhaling out, rounding the back. Inhaling, dropping the belly down, lifting the head, trying not to punch the back of the neck, opening the shoulders wide. Exhale it out, rounding and arching back the opposite way. Tucking the tailbone under. Inhale. Continue with that motion a few rounds. Exhale. And each time it will become a little easier or less tense. Of course, if you are in any discomfort at all, you may stop the motion and come into child's pose, which is coming down onto the backs of the knees or lying onto your back in Shavasana. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. If anyone's feeling any wrist issues at this stage, should have mentioned before, you can come onto your fists to take the pressure off the wrists. And exhale. Rounding the back. One more round. Inhale. Exhale. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Wonderful. So just rolling back onto the heels here. We're just going to sit here for a moment, just to stretch the front of the ankles. Quite a few muscles attached to these areas, and we do a lot of walking or sitting. So either the ankles are overworked or they're quite dormant, and they can collect a lot of fluid if we're sitting for long periods of time, if we're driving, if we're sitting at a computer and we're very, we're not very mobile. So we're just going to lift ourselves up, placing the hands upon the knees here, and try to keep the heels right under the buttocks. And we're just going to lift, inhaling, working those thigh muscles here, okay, and just gently lower. So if you want to, you can use your arms at shoulder height and gently lower, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do that. If that is painful, if by any means you can't lift it, try and see if you can bring the hands to the heart so that you don't have to lift the shoulders. You're still working the thigh muscles there. So bring the hands to the heart, and we're going to inhale. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, keeping the elbows nice and low. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gently inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale it out. 1, control, 2, 3, 4. Just one more round. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job. So we're just going to come into child's pose, bringing the arms to the backs of the feet, placing the head on the floor, just turning it to one side or on the forehead if you wish. If you have it on the forehead, you may wish to gently roll it round into that spot in the center, eyebrow center, where you've got that point of the third eye of intuition. And that helps to activate that area of making judgment calls. And just gently lifting the head up. Now, everything is going to be gentle movements today, as we're going to be doing sort of what we would call a warrior dance. So we're going to take this as you can take it. So make sure that you listen to your own body. So we're going to extend the arms nice and long in front of us, and lifting up into our tabletop position, gently tucking the toes under here and just coming back. So we're doing slightly a tuck toe under approach to what we did just now. We're not going to lift up on the thighs just yet, but we're just allowing the feet to stretch it out. We've got lots of muscles in the toes and the feet area, lots of bones there. About 32 bones in the foot and each foot. So we need to exercise those as well. All that connective tissue. So we're just going to lean forward slightly, untuck the toes, and come into an extended child. Keeping the arms aligned with the shoulders, the hands, and extending forward. Rolling up upon the knees. We're going to tuck the toes under and come into our first downward dog of this session. Unless you've been doing yoga earlier on today, we're just going to push the hips up nice and high into an inverted V. Again, if you are feeling that your wrists are a bit tender, you may wish to put a blanket, and I urge you to put a blanket underneath the wrists at this stage to soften that particular or ease that tension that you may have there in the wrists. So just holding that position for a few breaths. One breath, inhaling, exhaling, gently pedaling the feet out here to allow the backs of the legs to elongate, the calves and the spine. Just gently rolling over the shoulders and dropping the knees down, untucking the toes and coming into a gentle child's pose. Bringing the arms towards the body. And just gently rock from side to side. So all of these postures are going to be part of the flow that we're going to do the vinyasa, which is the dancing warrior. Extending the arms forward, looking forward between the hands again, rolling up into tabletop, tucking the toes under, and then lifting nice and high. Breathe in here. This is our second downward dog, and we're just going to pedal that out again. Just keep that motion going again with the wrists. If you wish to also double the mat up to take the pressure off the wrists, you can do that as well. Okay, but extend as far forward as possible without slipping off your mat and drawing the heels down towards the earth. Now we've all got different flexibilities, which means that we may not all be able to do this in one go. So just go where your body takes you today. If your feet are on tiptoes, that's okay. Just soften it, bring it slightly forward. And as the days and the weeks go by, you will become more accessible in the body with your movements. So gently pedal that out, soften, rolling over onto the shoulders into this plank position, dropping down to the knees and coming back into child's pose. Just gently extending forward. This time we're going to come into a slight variation of the downward facing dog. So lifting, extending the arms in front of you, lifting into tabletop and rolling, tucking the toes under, lifting the hips high up to the sky, forming that inverted V here. We're going to lift the right leg up to the sky. Well, you can lift it to where it will take you today, where it serves you. But if you can extend out, flexing that toe towards the body and just holding that, keeping that, the hips square and try not to open it up on the mat. Just breathe it here for a moment and just release that leg down. You're going to go on the opposite side, lifting the left leg nice and high, trying to square the hips up. Be mindful of the wrists, soften the elbows if it's becoming a bit much. Breathe it here, inhale, exhale it down. Lovely, just rolling onto the shoulders, dropping the knees down to the mat and coming down to the knees. Into child's pose. Extending the arms forward again, just giving the wrists a little bit of a rotation just to soften them up and interlace the fingers and just kind of wiggle them around a bit. And we're going to extend forward again, coming into our downward facing dog, lifting up into that inverted V. Now I'm going to lift my right leg up in this position and I'm going to look between my hands here and I'm going to step my swing my leg and step between the hands. So I'm in this sort of runner style position where I'm going to drop my knee down and soften it to the mat for the moment. Okay. And we're just going to come into a gentle twist. So placing the palm of the left hand on the mat and gently opening up with the right above the head. Now, if this is not accessible to you today, you may wish to just place the arm on the thigh or on the back of the thigh, wherever it serves you, and just opening up that area. Gently bringing that back down, placing the palm of the right hand on the mat and lifting the left arm up and overhead into a twist. Breathe it here. Again, with the arm, you can bring it to the back and or just allow it to rest on the hip. Gently bringing that back down. Tucking the toes of the back leg up, lifting that knee and swinging that leg back into downward facing dog. Breathe it here, inhaling, exhaling. We're going to do this on the other side, lifting the left leg high to the sky. Inhaling, looking between the hands and swinging that left leg between. Now it may not go right between, so you can assist it along with the hand, dropping that back leg down onto the knee, untucking the toes. So we're in this sort of runner style position here, getting ready. And inhale, so placing the left palm flat on the floor, lifting the right up and opening. If that is not accessible to you today, as I say, you can keep the hand on the hip or quite low or to the chest. And just gently bringing that back down and coming into a twist on the opposite side. So placing the right hand flat on the floor, lifting the palm of the left and opening here. Breathe it. And release that down. Wonderful. We're going to tuck those toes under on the back leg, lifting the knee and drawing that front foot back into a downward facing dog. Breathe in here, really expanding the chest if possible. And you can pedal just slightly here as the motion is becoming slightly easier and more accessible to your body today. And just gently roll over the shoulders, coming down to the knees and into child's pose. So this is really just warming the body up, firing the body up to come into some of our warrior postures, which are to flow. So just take a nice breath here. Gently rock from side to side, soften the breath. And rolling up. Just for a momentary moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to come forward. I'd just like you to just take a moment to watch what I'm going to demo to you on the actual screen. So I'm going to come into extended child. You don't need to follow along at this stage. I will do this again. We're going to come up into tabletop, and then I'm going very fast because I'm just demoing into downward facing dog. I'm going to lift my right leg up. We've done all this just now, so you'll get used to that motion. You're going to step forward. Now I'm going to do the opposite leg so you can see. Stepping forward. And I'm going to drop the back foot down to a 45-degree angle. So it's not facing completely forward. It's at a slight angle off center. And I'm going to lift my body up into what we would call Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. And that would be our first stance. Okay, and I'm really pushing down onto my back leg. I'm creating an angle with my front and pushing down on my front leg. So you're trying to square the hips towards the direction of the front leg. And then we're going to come back down. So the full flow is going to look like this. So I'm just going to demo once again. And then we're going to take it all the way through, and I'll talk you through it. So rolling up into downward facing dog. Lifting into third-legged dog, stepping between the hands, dropping that back foot down at an angle, lifting up into Virabhadrasana 1, coming into Warrior 2, adjusting the foot, dropping down to the front to side angle, going into Reverse Warrior, and windmilling down, and on the other side. And don't think that it's too much. We're going to get it done today, and we're going to take it at our pace. So everybody back down into the mats. And we're going to do this on one side and then the other. And we're not going to go at that pace, I can assure you. So let's just come into extended child's pose. Nice deep breath, setting our intention to be a warrior today. And lifting up into our four-pointed tabletop. Tucking the toes under, lifting up into downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the left leg up nice and high, and looking forward between the hands, stepping between the hands here, adjusting the foot, dropping the back leg down to a 45-degree angle, lifting the hands up to the sky. Now, if this is not accessible to you today, bring the palms towards the heart space. Softening the shoulders of your arms up to the sky, ensuring that your knee is not overshooting the ankle. If not, you need to extend the expanse of that, drawing the belly in. Gently extending into Warrior 2. So bringing the arms to shoulder height. Again, just turning the chest towards the screen if you're facing me. And adjusting the back foot so that it's at a 90-degree angle, which is facing the same direction as the shoulders. Here we're going to just drop the front arm to rest upon the thigh of the front leg and lift the arm up and overhead. Still pushing through the feet, grounding down on the mat. This is the side stretch of the warrior here. So we're really working shoulders, core, hamstrings, basically the whole body. And allowing that top arm to float down to the back of the thigh of the leg that's behind, lifting the front arm up and overhead. Or keeping it to the chest, if that's where you are today. Gently windmilling the hands down to the ground, turning the back foot forward, softening, and stepping back into downward facing dog. One breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Dropping down to the knees. And coming down into child's pose. So you might feel the body starting to really charge up now. That Agni, that fire, is working in the core area. And that's good because that's getting out all those toxins that have been pent up, that's facing your fears, that's going for it. Disciplining yourself and training yourself to do these things. And imagine yourself doing these postures. Because you're overcoming whatever fears that you're facing or battles at this time. So extending forward into extended child's pose, coming back up into your four-pointed position, tucking the toes under, lifting high into downward facing dog. You're going to lift the right leg this time high to the sky and looking forward between the hands, allow that leg to swing between there and help it along if it doesn't go right in. You're going to drop the back leg down so that the heel is to the floor at a 45-degree angle, lifting up the chest and lifting the arms up parallel to each other, shoulders facing the same direction as the hips. Breathe it here, making sure that the knee is just over the ankle and not overshooting. Breathe it here, really pushing down into the back leg, trying not to lock the knee up. It's a lot to think about. And then just gently turning the body to the side, so opening the shoulders, adjusting the back foot so that the foot is facing forward. Breathe it here. Really pushing through those, really engaging the thigh, the quadriceps. And if the arms can't go high, just bring it to the heart space. This is Virabhadrasana 2, which is Warrior 2. Dropping the front arm down to the thigh to rest it out for a moment, lifting that arm up and overhead for your side stretch. Imagine in this position that you're drawing your navel towards your spine and you're in between two panes of glass. That's a pretty sight. And extending that back arm down, lifting the front arm up and overhead into reverse warrior. Breathe it here. And then windmilling the arms down to turning the back leg forward and stepping the front leg back into downward facing dog. Breathe it here. Inhale, and after all of that, the downward facing dog starts to feel much easier. And just gently dropping the knees to the floor, coming into child's pose. We're just going to go into one more round of that on either side. So extending the arms forward, rolling up into tabletop, tucking the toes under, coming into downward facing dog, lifting the right foot up to the sky, the right leg, stepping forward between the hands, dropping the back foot to 45-degree angle and lifting the arms up and overhead. And to the heart space if the arms won't go there today, making sure that the knee is not overshooting the ankle. Take a deep breath in, really ground down, really feel that energy and that power in this position. Extending the arms outwards, turning the shoulders and the hips towards the same direction and making sure that the back foot is at 90-degree angle. If the arms won't allow this today, you can bring the hand to the heart space. Inhaling, really pushing down on the front and the back feet, and dropping the front arm forward and lifting that right arm up and overhead. Breathe it here for the side stretch again, imagining the panes of glass. Extending that upper arm down, and do reverse warrior, lifting that left arm up and overhead. Right. And windmilling the hands down, turning the back foot forward, and gently sliding that leg into downward facing dog. Inhaling here. Just gently wag the dog if you wish to, the tail. And exhale, dropping the knees to the floor for a moment and coming into child's pose. And we're not resting here too long, coming back up into extended child's pose, lifting into the four-pointed tabletop, tucking the toes under, lifting the hips high to the sky. Take a momentary breath here, inhaling. And exhale, lifting that left leg nice and high, looking between the hands and swinging that foot between, if possible, or helping it along with the hand. Dropping the back foot down to a 45-degree angle, lifting up into Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Take it nice and slow to your pace, pushing down onto the four corners of the back foot and the front foot, engaging that core. And opening out into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, turning the back foot to 90 degrees so that you will allow the hips and the shoulders to face forward. Extending that front arm down to the thigh and lifting the upper arm up and overhead. So the left arm is over the head and or to the heart space if you wish. Taking the upper arm down to reverse warrior to the back of the thigh, lifting that upper arm up and overhead. And we're going to windmill the hands down to the ground, turning the back foot forward and sliding that foot into downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Dropping the knees to the mat and coming down into child's pose. Softening the breath here. Extending the arms now out in front of you, and this time you're going to enjoy this one. Rolling all the way forward and sliding the body down, full expanse onto the mat. Just allow the arms to come to either side of you. Turning the toes towards each other so the big toes are facing inwards. And just gently rock from side to side upon the hips. Softening the shoulders to the mat. Allow one of your cheeks, either one, to just rest upon the mat. And just allow the entire body to melt to the earth. You may wish to switch the cheeks this time, so just taking it on the other side. And just gently bringing the head back up to center. So we're going to bring the chin to the mat this time. And we're going to grab hold of one or two of your ankles. So if you're doing this for the first time and it's easy to you, that's okay. And if you're not able to, you may wish to grab the back of your leggings or trousers if you're wearing that, or any part of the leg that you can hold on to. But we're going to go into bow pose, and we can either do half bow or full bow depending on what you can access today. So if you grab hold of your ankle by just bending the ankle towards you, so I'm bending my right ankle towards me, I'm holding on with my right hand, and I'm just lifting my chest up to the sky. That's okay here for the moment. I would like to lift my leg up, so I'm pushing my leg into my hand. This is half bow. But see if you can grab hold of both legs this time, keeping the knees quite close together if possible. If you can grab hold of the ankles or further down from the leg as well, that's also good. And you're going to, on the inhale, lift the chest up, and on the exhale, extend the legs into the hands. So we're into a back bend here, but on our bellies. And relax that out. Breathe it, release the legs and the hands. Just gently shake the hips from side to side on the mat. We do that once again. So grabbing hold of either one or both ankles. A nice tight grip here. Bringing the knees together so that you're protecting them, aligned with the hips. Inhaling, and on the exhale, lifting the chest and pushing the legs high into the hands. Keeping the neck quite straight, in line with the body. Inhale and exhale. Allow that to come down. Release it out. We're just going to go into one more of those, and then we're going to come into a locust position. So taking your feet up again towards the buttocks, grabbing hold with the ankles, or the ankles with the hands, a nice firm grip. Inhaling, and on the exhale, lifting the chest and lifting the legs, pushing the legs into the hands. On the inhale and exhale here, you'll feel the body sort of rock in a bow-like motion. Exhale it out. And release. Just gently shake the hips from side to side. We're going to go into locust. Locust just means that you're going to be lifting the legs and the chest without the aid of the arms. So you're going to be placing the hands with the palms up, as I am, inhaling, and you're going to just lift on the exhale, lift legs and arms together. So you're almost floating in a sort of Superman-like position, and exhale it down. So inhaling, and exhaling, lifting the chest and both legs together. You can keep them together if possible, lifting them as high as you can, and exhale down. One more time. Inhale. And exhale, lifting the chest and both feet together and the arms off the mat. Engaging the glutes and the hamstrings, and exhale it down. Wonderful. And you may wish to come over, roll over onto your backs here. Extending fully on your mat. Drawing the knees up to the chest. Keeping the knees together, and just allow yourself some simple rotations. Clockwise to massage the lower back, and anti-clockwise. Gently bring the feet to the mat. You can spread them hip width apart and draw the knees together. Bring the hands close to the body. And actually give them a little bit of distance away from the body, palms facing upwards. Soften the shoulder on the mat. Allow the neck to be nice and long, so tuck the chin into the chest. Closing the eyes and preparing yourself to come into relaxation. Rotating in one direction and the other. Softly come over to the right side of your body. Allow the knees to drop to the floor, stacked one upon each other. Create a little pillow with your hands for your head. And in your own time, gently allow the body to come up into an easy seated posture. We will take 3 deep breaths before we end the practice. Inhaling, arms wide, gathering that energy up, bringing the hands towards the heart space. Exhale. Inhale, bringing the hands up, eyes to the sky if you wish, and arms coming down towards the heart space. Third and final breath in, palms together, pausing at the crown of the head to acknowledge the intuition of the practice. Pausing at the mouth for the discipline, truth, and honesty of the practice. And at the heart space for the love of the practice. Namaste.